Hi guys, it's me. I'm here today. I'm down in the conference center, so if you misbehave, I'll come and take care of business. See, I'm right here. Upside down, I know. Here's today's notes. You guys are going to do something called dimensional analysis. This is really 6-3. I'm going to show you how to do this worksheet first that you're going to be doing in class, and then I'll give you a couple examples for your homework. So this dimensional analysis thing talks about converting from units to other units, and maybe you recognize these names: Peter, Quagmire, Lois, Brian, Stewie. Well, if you don't, it's one of my favorite TV shows, Family Guy. So anyway, you're going to be converting from units to different units, and it's really just about canceling fractions. Remember that. It's just about canceling fractions. So check out problem number 1. It says, how many Peters can you get for 20 bucks? Well, $20, if you look at this conversion table here, the only thing that has dollars in it converts from dollars into Quagmires. So somehow you got to get from dollars to Peters. Well, if you look at this table up here, I can go from dollars to Quagmires, and where else do you see Quagmires? Anywhere else? Right here. 1 Quagmire is 10 Peters. So remember what I just said. It's about canceling fractions. So start with what you got. You have $20. So you're going to start with $20. Now, how can I make that into a fraction? You should all know this. What am I about to do to make this into a fraction? I'm going to put it over 1. Now, canceling means we're going to be multiplying. Well, what am I converting dollars into? Well, I'm going to convert dollars into Quagmires. And the only way you can cancel things is if one's on top and one's on the bottom. So use this as a fraction. Put the $10 on the bottom. Why? Because the units are going to cancel. Well, what does $10 equal? It equals 1 Quagmire. Okay? Now, why does this work? Well, watch. If I cancel dollars, what units do I have left? I have Quagmires. But I don't want Quagmires. I want Peters. So I got to cancel another set of units. And the units I'm going to cancel are the Quagmires using this conversion. So multiply it to get it to cancel, which means the Quagmire, 1 Quagmire has to go on the bottom, and I'm going to put 10 Peters up top. Watch what happens. I cancel Quagmires. Now, out of all those units that are left, the only thing I have is Peters. The only thing left is Peters, and that's what I want. I want to know how many Peters. Now you just cancel or multiply the numbers. Well, see how I got a 10 here and a 10 here? Doesn't 10 go into 10 once and 10 go into 10 once again? So if I multiply all that's left, it's really 20 times 1 times 1 is 20. And 1 times 1 times 1 is just 1, which I don't need to write. But what units do I still have? 20 what? Peters. So for 20 bucks, I get 20 Peters. Let's do problem number 2 together, and then the rest of these are going to be for you to finish. So I want to know how many Loises you can get for 20 Quagmires. So start with 20 Quagmires. Make it a fraction. Put it over 1. Look up here. What can you convert Quagmires into? You can either convert it into dollars or into Peters. Well, let's see. Somehow we got to get Quagmires to Loises. So let's see what we got with Lois. We got Loises and Brians and Loises and Stewies. Nothing that has to do with Quagmire. But wait, I got Peter and Quagmire, Peter and Stewie, Lois and Stewie. Wow, so there's going to be a lot of converting in this one. All right, so let's start with what we know. We know 20 Quagmires can be canceled with, let's see, 10 Peters. So I'll put 1 Quagmire on the bottom and 10 Peters up top. What's going to cancel? My Quagmires. Well, what can I convert Peters into? I can convert Peters into Stewies. So let's go ahead and do that. Multiply by, we want Peters into Stewies. So we have 4 Peters down here and 2 Stewies up here. Cancel the Peters. So right now all I have left is Stewies. Well, who can Stewie be converted to? Well, not Peter, then I'd be going back to where I started. I want to convert Stewie into Lois because that's who I'm looking for. So let's use this one, the Lois to Stewie conversion. So the Stewie's need to go on the bottom, so I can cancel them. So I put 3 Stewies there, and 2 Loises up top. 2 Loises up top. Cancel my Stewies. And now, let's see if we can just cancel more stuff in the fractions. Is there anything down in the bottom that can be canceled up top? Well, let's see. I see a 4 here and a 20 here. 4 goes into 4 once, 4 goes into 20 5 times. Anything else on the bottom that can be canceled that you notice? 3 doesn't go into any of those numbers. So I'm just going to go ahead and multiply. So 5 times 10 is 50, times 2 is 100, times 2 again is 200. 200 over what? 1 times 1 times 1 is 3. And the only units that are left that aren't canceled are the Loises. Now that's an improper fraction that can be converted into a mixed number, so let's go ahead and do that. 3 goes into 200 how many times? Well, if you think of this as 20, 3 would go into 20 almost 7 times. So do the division. If you do 3 into 200, 3 goes into 20 6 times, makes that 18. And then I subtract, and what's going to happen here is 3 goes into 20 6 more times, 18. And now I have a remainder of 2/3. So the answer is 66 2/3 Loises. Okay, so that's the worksheet. You're going to finish numbers 3, 4, 5, and 6 for me. Now let me show you the notes for today's homework. The 6-3 notes are based on the stuff that you're going to be doing for homework on page 228. Now it's the same thing, except this time, instead of giving you Loises and Peters and Family Guy characters, you're going to be using this table right here, which is on page 226. It's in your book on the first page of that section. So you need to be referring to this to get your conversions. So let's look at example 1. I want to know what 42 inches is in feet. Well, if I look at my conversion, the only thing I have the inches in feet is 12 inches is 1 foot. You probably knew that. So 12 inches to 1 foot. So if I start with 42 inches, just like the Family Guy thing here, I start with 42 inches, make it a fraction over 1, and I want to cancel inches and make it into feet, I need to put the inches down here and the feet up there. Well, what was it? 1 foot, 12 inches. Well, now if I just cancel the inches and do the actual division here, or simplification really, 12 and 42 are both divisible by 6, so that's going to be 6 into 12 is twice. 6 into 42 is what? 7 times. So then if I multiply it out, I get 7 over 2 feet. Well, if you just make that into a mixed number, 2 goes into 7 3 times, so it is 3 1/2 feet. And you're done. Piece of cake. Next example, 3,000 pounds equals how many tons? 2,000 pounds is 1 ton. So I'm going to use this conversion, 2,000 pounds, 1 ton. So 3,000 pounds, start with that, over 1. My conversion, I want to cancel the pounds and keep the tons. Well, 1 ton is equal to 2,000 pounds. Well, cancel your units. What's left? What we want, tons. And 2,000 divided by 3,000, they're both divisible by, well, 1,000. So this becomes 2, this becomes 3. So I'm really left with 3 over 2 tons, which is 1 1/2 tons. Done. So you can see these are a little easier than the ones that you had to do for the worksheet. The last example is going to be finding a unit rate, and that's going to be the second half of your homework. If I said I want to know what 270 inches is in 3 minutes as a unit rate, this is what you did for last night's homework, I want to know what it is in feet per minute. So 270 inches in 3 minutes. This time you just set this up as a fraction, 270 over 3. So what they give you right here, you just write it as a fraction. But I want to end up with feet per minute. So look, I have inches per minute. I want feet per minute. That means the inches need to cancel and turn into feet somehow. So what I did is I wrote 270 inches in 3 minutes. And I know that if I want the inches to cancel, I know that 1 foot is 12 inches, and that came from that same chart. So now look, what's left over? I'm going to have feet on top and minutes on the bottom, and that's what this means right here, feet per minute. And if I try to simplify anything, think of this as 27 instead of 270. Doesn't 3 go into 27 9 times? So this is actually going to be 90. And then if I actually realize that these are both even numbers, I can cut them in half. I can divide them actually by 3, and you can actually divide them by 6. So this is going to be a 2, and 6 goes into 90 15 times. So you end up with 15 over 2 feet, and in the bottom, minutes. 15 over 2, as you know, is 7.5 feet per minute. And that's the last half of your homework. Do your best. Good luck. I'll see you next class.